talking about I'm trying to create a gender divide. That's not it. What I'm really trying to do is demonstrate that there is a gender divide.
Following the latest racist attack on Caitlin Clark, the WNBA goes crazy since it seems that being a good player is now illegal in this sport.
As you guys know, throughout this entire year, Caitlin Clark has been at the center of so many controversies, whether she said something or not, whether she did something on the court or not, and that is something that we have addressed.
However, racism is nothing new to Caitlin Clark. It is a common occurrence in women's basketball, where players are either teased for their color or harassed for being too talented.
Can't fucking stand her. Why? Because she's white. It's abject, absolute racism. It's total racism.
In a recent interview with The Times, Caitlin praised her fellow black players who have been working extremely hard to advance in this league. However, because she is Caitlin, all of her well-intentioned remarks are portrayed negatively because people of her race cherry-pick her words and create controversy around classic style. But experts like Stephen A. Smith and Rachel DEA supported her because they had some common sense.
I'm Athlete of the Year. 22 years old. She had a record-breaking season with the Indiana Fever. In the WNBA, she shattered 6 rookie records for points and assists, 4 franchise records.
At the age of just 22 in her rookie season, Caitlin Clark was a force to be reckoned with in the WNBA. She set a rookie scoring record with an incredible 769 points, averaging 19.2 points per game. To top it all off, she was the first rookie ever to record 2 triple-doubles, including an incredible 19-assist game.
You know that Caitlin Clark is the Time Athlete of the Year.
And just before the year ended, she won the title of Time Athlete of the Year. To say she crushed it would be an understatement. She didn't just play basketball, she rewrote the playbook. However, greatness doesn't come without its share of hate, and Caitlin Clark soon discovered that after a fantastic playoff performance in which she was hurt on a foul, she received a nasty email full of violent threats and racist slurs instead of being showered with sympathy. Nothing compares to receiving a racist email when you should be concentrating on getting better, right? Then there's the lovely world of social media, where trolls naturally chose to make Caitlin their new target rather than celebrating her historic rise. As a result, social media became a breeding ground for attacks.
Fucking stand her. Why? Because she's white. It's abject, absolute racism. It's total racism.
And the fellow black players played a big part in this regard. Racist comments, hateful messages, and overall disgusting behavior were fired at her like confetti at a parade, all because Caitlin Clark's success or dominance on the court was just too much for some people to handle. When they've nothing else to say, you can always rely on the classic "you look like a man" insult, because of course when you can't touch her game you just attack her appearance. Standard troll fare, right? Nothing like deflecting from actual talent by focusing on looks. Classic hater style, as they don't care about achievements, all they care about is tearing people down, especially when have internet anonymity on their side. This is even more disturbing because it's part of a much bigger issue within the WNBA and beyond. As Caitlin herself has said, she recognizes her white privilege in her interview with Time. Clark didn't shy away from acknowledging that while she's worked hard to earn her success, her being white has played a role in her visibility in the sport.
Grown up a huge women's sports fan, whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, whether it was volleyball, you go down the list. Like, I grew up loving it and watching it.
She emphasized the significant contributions made by black players to the league's success and demanded more funding and acknowledgement for their exposure. Her self-awareness of the racial dynamics at work speaks volumes and contrasts sharply with how other athletes, especially black athletes, have been handled, but the league players do not show her the same compassion. The rise of Clark as a white star in a mostly black league has sparked some difficult discussions about privilege and race. Even other players, like Angel Reese, have played dirty games to put her down, but don't you think the league itself is the real problem? Caitlin is in the spotlight, but her experience highlights a much larger problem: the toxic and racist cesspool that female athletes in the WNBA must deal with.
She was nobody. She had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? She can't help the way she was born. She was born as a white person. She's a decent, respectful human being, a lovely young lady who goes out there and performs.
And that's when Stephen A. Smith enters the picture with his trademark, unfiltered commentary. He doesn't just discuss Caitlin's popularity, he questions it. "If you're white, you're smart, you're right," he said bluntly, pointing out that Clark's race might have given her a visibility advantage, but he didn't stop there. Smith addressed the real issue of systemic racism in sports culture and the NBA's failure to take action to shield its players from this nonsense head-on. However, Smith's commentary also raised a difficult question. Has Caitlin's silence on racism experienced by her black peers been complicit? Some fans contend that she should be speaking out more, especially given the platform her celebrity offers, while others believe it is unreasonable to expect her to bear that weight on top of everything else. Rachel Dita and other sports experts advocate for Caitlyn. When the racial hatred began to erupt, Rachel didn't think twice about supporting Caitlin Clark. In fact, she made it clear that, as women, we must stand by one another no matter what. Rachel also noted that, like herself, Caitlyn is aware of her privilege in this area and isn't attempting to ignore it.
There are a lot of really good fans, whether they've been fans for 20 plus years or whether they're new fans in our league. I think continuing to uplift this league in a very positive light.
In the midst of all the hate directed at Caitlin Clark, there was a welcome turn of events. Supporters, who were outraged by the disgusting remarks, flooded the internet with messages of love, respect, and full-throated defense of Caitlyn. They weren't afraid to hold the league accountable for allowing such behavior to continue for so long, calling for a stronger, more unified stand against racism. As Rachel mentioned, the WNBA has become the fastest-growing brand while failing to provide a truly safe and supportive environment for all of their.
Talking about I'm trying to create a gender divide. That's not it. What I'm really trying to do is demonstrate that there is a gender divide.
Clark's rise brought attention to the league, which is still dealing with basic issues like players flying commercials just a season ago. Can we even be surprised they're fumbling the ball on something as serious as this? However, that light is exposing some really ugly truths, like how black players cloud Natasha Liz Cambage has been yelling about systemic racism for years, but they have received nothing. Then, Dione Carrington receives a racist email full of threats and slurs, and Alyssa Thomas hears racist remarks from Indiana Fever supporters during the playoffs. Where is the outrage and action? Now, the same thing is happening with Caitlyn and the league rallies attendance. Soares and the Indiana Fever become the hot ticket, and the WNBA suddenly becomes all ears. It's funny how progress happens when there is a white player at the center. In a recent interview with The Times, Caitlin Clark made it clear that she wasn't going to sit back and let the racist trolls run wild, which was another significant contribution to the WNBA's advancement.
Yeah, it's definitely upsetting. I don't think nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats.
She bravely denounced the tsunami of bigotry and hatred directed at her and her fellow WNBA players, stating that nobody in our league should have to deal with nasty, rude, hateful remarks or threats. Let's face it, this was long time. Caitlyn wasn't looking for anyone to fight her battles for her. She could call out the idiots on her own. What's even more powerful in this situation is that Caitlyn didn't stop defending herself. Instead, she made the point that this wasn't just about her and that the league and its culture needed to change. What comes next? The WNBA can't continue to ride the weir trying train forever. League action announcements are adorable, but they don't eliminate racist emails, harassment, or injustices. The league needs mechanisms in place to safeguard players, hold fans responsible, and, truly uphold its purportedly progressive ideals.
Those aren't fans, those are trolls, and it's a real disservice to the people in our league, the organization, the WNBA.
Speaking of fans, our league needs some serious education since trolls are a real-life issue that makes the league unpleasant for players. What about initiatives to expose racism and misogyny in the fan base and hold people accountable? Make it clear that if you're here to hate, you're not welcome. Then, there are the players themselves. Giving voices like Caitlin Clark and her black peers the opportunity to speak out on these issues isn't just nice. It's essential because they are the ones living this reality. Give them the resources, the platform, and the support they need to push for real change. In the end, it's not just about repairing the WNBA. It's about changing sports culture in general and respecting human accountability. These ideas aren't innovative, but they're terribly lacking, and if the WNBA wants to be the progressive force it says it is, it's time to start living up to the hype.